You've done this before. You tell someone about a big dream, the life you want, the future you can already see in your head. And at first they smile, they nod, but something changes. The energy feels different, and you leave that conversation wondering, what were they actually thinking? Psychology suggests probably more than you realize, because when you speak about your biggest ambitions, something psychological quietly activates inside the people listening to you. Here are 5 things people often think or do when you talk about your biggest dreams. 1. Some people instantly start comparing themselves. The moment you say something like, I want to build something meaningful, I want freedom, I want to create a life most people never even attempt, some people stop hearing your words and start measuring their life against yours. Here's the psychology behind this. In 1954, Leon Festinger introduced what's now called social comparison theory, the idea that humans have a near-constant, often unconscious drive to evaluate themselves by measuring against the people around them. And the closer someone is to you, same age, same background, same starting point, the sharper that comparison becomes. So when you speak about your dream with conviction, they're not just hearing ambition, their brain is running a parallel calculation. Where am I compared to this? What have I built? What have I postponed? What did I once promise myself and quietly stop believing I could do? And that's why silence can feel strange, because sometimes it isn't judgment, it's self-comparison. But comparison isn't the only thing that can happen. 2. Some people hype you up for the wrong reasons. Some people don't challenge your dream, they encourage it. They ask questions. They tell you to go deeper. Come on, tell us more. What's the plan? How big are you thinking? And in the moment, it feels like interest. But here's what psychology tells us about this. There's a concept in social behavior research called instrumental listening, engaging with someone not to understand them, but to extract from them. Not to support, but to gather. They were never listening to believe in you. They were listening for something to use later, because the moment you leave, the tone changes. Your ambition becomes a joke. Your confidence becomes entertainment. The same people who hyped you up start repeating your words with a laugh. And sometimes, before you even walk back into the room, someone already says, look, here comes the big dreamer. Why do people do this? Because it's easier than confronting their own inertia. Psychologists studying social identity theory have found that people protect their self-image in 2 main ways, either by elevating themselves or by subtly diminishing those around them. That's why not everyone who gets access to your dreams deserves access to your future. 3. Some people project their own limits onto you. Sometimes people sound concerned. They say things like, be realistic, don't aim too high, what if it doesn't work? And on the surface, it sounds like advice, but it shows something deeper. People rarely speak from logic alone. More often, they're speaking from emotional memories, past failures that hurt them, risks that didn't work out, moments where they trusted themselves and ended up disappointed. Those experiences leave marks, and without realizing it, people start projecting those marks onto you. They're not reading your future, they're rereading their past. So sometimes, what sounds like wisdom is actually fear wearing the mask of concern. They project the failures of their past onto the future you're still trying to build. Before you've even taken the first step, they aren't always describing your limits. Sometimes, they're describing the limits they accepted for themselves. 4. Some people feel inspired. Not everyone reacts with discomfort. Some people hear your dream, and something wakes up inside them, because courage is contagious. Seeing someone think bigger than their current reality can awaken parts of them they thought were gone. It can remind them of the goals they once carried in silence, the business they kept postponing, the art they stopped creating, the risks they wanted to take, the version of themselves they once believed in. And sometimes, without saying a single word, your ambition doesn't make them feel insecure. It makes them remember. It reminds them of who they used to be and who they still could become. Because not all silence comes from jealousy. Sometimes, it's inspiration. This is what research on vicarious motivation tells us, that watching someone pursue something bold doesn't just inform us, it activates something inside us. It reaches into dormant parts of our sense of identity and asks, what are you waiting for? Which means sometimes, without saying a word, without knowing it ever happened, you become the reason someone quietly starts again. And that is not a small thing. 5. Some people start watching you closely. The moment you say something bold, people remember it. Even if they act casual, even if they never mention it, they start watching your behavior, your habits, your consistency, your discipline. The moment you declare something publicly, you've opened a gap between who you said you're becoming and who you currently are. And the people around you, consciously or not, are watching to see if you close it. They watch to see if your actions match your ambition. So what do you do with all of this? First, stop expecting the wrong people to be your hype squad. A great friend and a great dream supporter are not always the same thing, and that's okay. Be strategic about who you share your dreams with. Second, understand that their reaction is data, not a verdict. If every person you tell immediately lights up with excitement, you might be playing too small. Truly ambitious ideas make people uncomfortable. If your dream makes some people uncomfortable, that might mean you're onto something real. Third, protect your dream in its early stages. There's a concept in psychology called psychological ownership, the idea that when we share something too early, we often expose it to outside pressure before it's strong enough to stand on its own. Big dreams are fragile when they're new. They need quiet, focused energy, not constant opinions. Some of the most successful people in the world talk about the same principle. Build first, show later. The people around you are not your enemies when they react badly to your dreams. They're human. They're navigating their own fears, their own comparisons, their own sense of what's possible. But that doesn't mean you owe them your dreams at the expense of your own courage. You don't need everyone to understand your vision. You only need the courage to keep building it. If this hit close to home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you've ever had a dream quietly talked down, drop your experience in the comments.